I have a rat tail comb. Let's figure it out. Is it okay? Oh, it is not okay. I'm making a mess. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a girl, Ginger, of course. Welcome back. Whew. Today's video is going to be all about these braids, honey. Girl, I am finally back in a protective hairstyle, and if you're part of the challenge, you are happy right now, and so am I. Today I'm going to teach you how to do these beautiful cornrows, so if you're interested, then keep on watching. Before we get started though, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notified every single time your girl uploads a new video. Also follow me on Instagram and TikTok now, because exactly, I don't know why not. Alright, so today is the day that I am going to make it my business to teach you how to cornrow. Not only cornrow your natural hair, but also cornrow with extensions. Let's get right into it and let's start talking about the hair. The hair that I'm using is this Easy Kima Twin Professional 24-inch extension. This is what she looks like. She is two-tone, which I think will be quite interesting, you know. The color is T1B/350 in case you're interested in using the same hair or same color that I'm using. All right, so she is pre-feathered, which I appreciate because less work on me. And honestly, those are the only type of hair that I use now when it comes to braiding my hair, because I don't have to do a lot of work to feather it myself. It already comes this way, so that's great. Yeah, there's not much to say about this hair except that it's soft, it's feathered, and it's ready to go. Off camera, before I even started, what I did is I pre-portioned the hair. I take little small portion of hair and spread it all across the table in front of me so that I'm ready to go and I don't have to do it as I braid. I just find that it's a little bit faster for me, but you can do whatever you want. My hair was washed a couple of days ago, so it's not freshly washed. I do typically braid my hair when it's clean and freshly washed, but I mean, I only washed my hair just a few days ago, so I don't need to wash it again. But I am going to moisturize. I am going to make sure that my hair is in tip-top shape. I always moisturize my hair before I get it braided, just because my hair is going to be in the braids for Lord knows how long. 2 weeks ideally, but life typically gets in the way, right? So I always make sure that my hair is moisturized. So let's do that right now. I have a water bottle right here. So I am going to spritz my hair. I don't need to get it extremely wet, but I want to make sure that my hair has water in it, moisture in it before I get her braided. Once we're done with water, I am going to follow up with a leave-in conditioner. The conditioner that I'm using today is the Holy Grail IMONatural. If you have been here for over a few months, you know I love this leave-in conditioner, and it's one of the favorites one that I use. Use what you like. Obviously, you don't need to buy something just to get your hair braided. Just make sure that your hair is nice and moisturized. That's it. That's key if you are going to get your hair braided, and if you want your hair to stay moisturized longer, you want to make sure that your hair is moisturized to begin with. All right, so leave-in conditioner's in. I do have a hair butter. I also like to coat my hair with a butter. The butter that I'm using today is by Bloom Seed, and it's a very nice butter. It coats my hair very well. It's made with Shea Butter, cocoa butter. It has a ton of oils in here, which is why I'm using it. And this one, I'm going to use it as I braid my hair. Right now, we're going to move on to parting. I like to work in sections. That's my thing. Even if when it comes to washing my hair, taking care of my hair, braiding my hair, I always work in sections. It just really keeps me sane when it comes to doing my hair, because otherwise it's an overwhelming task, especially if you have long hair or thick hair. Working in section is going to be a lifesaver for you. I would highly recommend it. In terms of tools, we have a rat tail comb. This is the one that I like to use. Okay, I don't like the one that's the metal tip. I find it difficult for me to part with, but these ones are my go-to. I just get them at the beauty supply store. None of this needs to be expensive, by the way. But yeah, so I'm gonna use my little rat tail comb to section my hair, and I always do 4 sections when I'm braiding my hair. Today I'm going to do less than 4 sections because of how I'm going to braid my hair, but typically I always do 4 sections. And I like to do one part straight down the middle because that is going to help me with symmetry. And you'll see what I mean in a second, especially for the style that I'm choosing to do. I like to make sure that things are symmetric. I like to make sure that I have the same amount of braids on one side and the next. So I go straight down the middle. Typically, when I get to this part, I would do a part from ear to ear. But right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna go all the way to the back first because I am doing cornrows all the way back. So that's going to help me. All right, and it's okay if it's not perfect yet. We're not going for perfection. We're just making sure that our hair is sectioned right now. So next thing, I wanna do about 3 to 4 rows of knotless braids in the back, just because I want to have a little bit more volume for my style. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna part the back of my head to create the section for the knotless braids. It's always a good idea to have a mirror so that you can check your parting. It doesn't need to be perfect. All right, so once you're done parting, you should have 3 sections, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. And right now I'm going to use my butter to do the knotless braids in the back. I have a whole video on how to do knotless braids, so I'm not going to bore you. I am going to link it in the cards and down below. So I'll be back once my knotless braids are done. All right, so the back is done. I ended up just doing 2 rows of knotless braids because it's kind of like the look that I'm going for. And the reason why I did knotless, you will see later on, is because I wanted to have a little bit more volume in the back when I go ahead and do my cornrows. Onto parting. This is kind of like the fun part and probably the part that will take you the longest if you are as picky as I am. I like clean parts, I like straight parts. That is why I use a rat tail comb. So I am going to actually clean up the first part that I did, just because, you know, I kind of quickly did it just to do it. And of course my hair is drying out, so it's making it a little harder for me to handle. Hence, water bottle on deck. So there we are. It does not look like it's very straight. So I'm gonna keep working on it. I'll put this side out of the way really quickly, and then we are gonna start working on the other side. Okay, finally we can get to talk about braiding. Before we even get to braiding, I like to part all of my parts first. Now the reason why I do that is because cornrows will disrespect you very quickly, especially if you're doing cornrows going straight back, because if you start and you take too much hair in the back, then you're not gonna have enough hair for, you know, the rest of your braids. I don't know if that makes sense, but I like to start parting from the middle and move outward because it's easy for you to get more hair while you go into the side, just because, you know, it's a smaller section, you can get a little bit more ambitious, and then next thing you know, you don't have enough hair for the top braids. All that to say, I am very picky when it comes to symmetry and my braids being the same, so I try to do things in a way that helps. For now, I'm thinking of doing maybe 6 to maybe like 8 actually. 8 braids on each side, 8 to 9 braids on each side. I don't want to do them too small. Let's part really quickly and I'll be back. So to make things easier, I'm going to split this side into 2. I'm sure you guys have seen straight back cornrows done where the braids on the side go all the way to the back, but in the middle is bulky. That's kind of like what I'm talking about when I mean that you're running out of hair for the middle parts. Working in sections really does help with that. So right now this section looks pretty good, so I am going to put it out of the way and then do about 4 to 5 parts over here. And I do have some rubber bands ready to go so that I can put my hair away. All right, so all the parts are done. It may look a little crazy, but there is a method to the madness. I have about 8 braids or 8 parts going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought it was 8. Anyway, I think it's 8. We are gonna start from the side, and honestly, once you have your parts separated and ready to go, you're 65% there. For my edges, I made a part going more on a diagonal just because braiding my edges straight back put a lot of tension on them, so I tried to alleviate that by doing kind of like a side part. If you know how to braid, then cornrows are probably going to be a little easier or make more sense for you, so I'm assuming that you know how to braid. The first cornrow that I'm going to do, I am going to do my own hair so that you can really see what I'm doing. I'm gonna take one of the parts down. I am going to spritz her with some water just because honestly, my hair is 100% more manageable when she is not wet but damp. All right, so up close and personal. When it comes to cornrows, you want to make sure that you start as close to the front of your hair as possible. So whatever you can grab, the smaller, the better. Now I'm going to start by doing 3 tiny parts. You can barely tell that I did that, but basically that's what I'm doing. And then I'm using my index fingers to go under each strand. And as I do that, I am going to grab some more hair so that I can continue the braid. Okay. That was a lot to say. I hope you caught that, but we're gonna go over this again because I really wanna make sure that you get this. Mastering the basic cornrow is obviously the foundation that you need before you can start feeding in hair into your braids. Essentially, you want to braid your hair, and every single time you make a loop, you want to add some more hair so that your hair is braided close to your scalp. So right there, you can see that my little index finger goes under, and every single time it goes under, I add more hair or I grab more hair. But let me show you a better angle. Okay, so here we are. My little index finger is going under. So as it goes under, I loop the hair through, but then that finger, it's going to grab some more hair. Every time it goes under, you're going to add some hair to it. Index finger goes under, grab some hair. The other index goes under, you grab some hair, and you just continue to braid. It's really hard to explain how to braid. You would not even imagine. Anywho, moving on. Here we are. I'm at the very beginning of my hair. I'm doing the smallest possible section that I can, and then the same motion of braiding my hair. Index finger goes under, and now when it goes under, this is where I'm going to loop in the fake hair. So once that hair is looped in, I'm going to continue the same motion of putting my index finger under and then adding some fake hair, looping it through. And then one side of the fake hair obviously is going to be attached to one strand of my natural hair, and then the other side of the fake hair is going to be attached to another strand of my natural hair. Again, very confusing to explain, but I hope you can watch this video and you can see what I'm doing. See that? You loop it through your index finger. There it is. And as the other index finger goes under, you are making sure that you're grabbing some hair. And you're going to keep doing this all the way to the bottom. Once you feel like your hair is thick enough, so the cornrow is thick enough, you don't have to keep adding hair. You just have to add hair until you feel like your hair is as thick as you want it to be. When I'm braiding my natural hair with the fake hair, I make sure that I braid really tight so that my hair is not peeping through. As you can see, I didn't blow dry my hair or anything like that. So I have to make sure that my hair is braided tightly so that it's not poofy or anything towards the end. It's also a good idea to add some shine and gem there as well, because that's going to help smooth out your braid. All right, in terms of the sections, I do really small sections, especially at the beginning. You want your sections to be pretty small. If they're too big, you're gonna be able to tell where you add them. At the very beginning, so the very front of your hair, you want to make sure that these strands are super tiny. And it's always a good idea to just have a bunch of hair ready to go, because it's never a good thing once you run out of hair as you are working on the braid, because you have to drop everything that you're doing to part or section some of the extensions. Anyways, this is me at the very beginning of the braid. As you can see, I made 3 small sections. So now I'm going to loop my index finger through. It's important to note that your thumb is also in the picture, and I know you can't see it at all from these clips, but your thumb is behind your index finger, so that's also going to control how much hair you're grabbing every single time you are looping your finger through and picking up some hair. You don't want to pick up too much hair, because now your cornrow is not gonna be tight. It's not gonna look like a braid. It's gonna be very loose. So the smaller hair that you can grab, the better, especially at the very front of your hair. And keep going. The key to braiding your hair is to do this over and over and over until you're comfortable with it. If you think you're going to do your hair once and give up, then don't even try. Save yourself the heartache. You have to do this and practice over and over and over. If it helps, practice in somebody else's head so that you can get the motion down. It's not rocket science, really. It's just practice. The first time you braid your hair is never going to turn out right, and that's okay. You just have to do it over and over and over, and then you'll be able to tell or see the pattern. Now, if you're looping the fake hair and you didn't do it properly, it's just going to come out. Nothing bad's gonna come out of it, and you'll just have to take that strand out and loop another one through. And sometimes I do it and it doesn't catch. I just keep going, because eventually when you get to the end of your hair, it's going to come out. So just keep adding hair until your hair gets thick enough. Then you can just keep on braiding. You don't have to keep on adding hair and make it too thick. So be mindful of the thickness of your cornrows. Personally, I like to make sure that I add a few strands at the very bottom of the cornrows so that my braids are even. And of course, just keep braiding all the way to the bottom. It can get difficult to separate your own hair, especially if you didn't blow dry it or anything like that. But every single time you make a braid or loop a braid through, make sure that you're pulling your hands all the way down so that you don't have any knots or anything at the end of your hair or at the end of the fake hair as well. You want to make sure that you are pulling your hand through all the way at least once in a while so that your hair doesn't get matted. Adding some shine and gem right there to make sure that my hair is coated with it and prevent any flyaways. Doing my hair in my office is all good and well, but let me tell you the real secret to getting your hair done right. The bathroom, sis. You need to be in front of a mirror so that you can see what you're doing. And if you make a mistake, you can catch it right away. You don't have to do a whole braid and then realize, oh damn, it didn't turn out properly. Yes, get in your sink, sit in front of the mirror, girl, and get this done. A few things that usually go wrong. If you don't start your braid as close to the front of your hair as possible, then it's going to be a little gappy. And also for your cornrows to lay flat to your hair, make sure that your fingers stay flat to your hair. Make sure that your hand stays as close to your scalp as possible as you braid. That will prevent your cornrows from being super loose. Always make sure that you are controlling how tight your braids are. Cornrows will sneak up on you. So if you are starting your hair and you feel like it's getting a little tight, loosen up the grip, because by the time you get to the very bottom or the very end of your hair, it's going to be extremely tight. So make sure that you are paying attention to how tight your hair is. And yeah, I think that's it in terms of tips. But practice makes perfect. It really does. When it comes to braiding your hair, you need to practice and do it over and over and over. That's the only way you are going to get better. The streets are calling my name. Girl, where am I going? They turn out so cute. Okay, sis. Oh, Jennifer. Okay, let's get it together. All that's left to do is just to wrap things up at this point. I do have some hot water here that I'm going to dip my ends in. And because you don't have a lot of hair, it should be super easy to do, which is why I have it in this cup. Dip it right in. Leave it in for a few seconds and take it out. That's going to prevent your ends from unraveling. I also have some oil here that I'm going to use on my scalp. Not too much, just a little bit, just to kind of like, I don't know why I do this, but it just really feels nice at the end of your braids to just kind of like run some oil and keep them nice and crisp. And then last but not least, actually that's the last step, is some mousse. Okay, don't be afraid to use some mousse. So this one is by Swear NYC. It was gifted. Shout out to her. She reached out to me on Instagram. It's supposed to condition and moisturize your hair. So don't mind if I do. I'm just gonna run it all the way through my hair and the braids as well. Oh, it smells pretty nice. Has like a citrusy smell. Just like that, you're done and braid it up. Girl, I can see it. Face B. The streets I will be. I'm kidding. What am I even talking about? No one's going to no streets. Anyway, this is what she looks like. And I'll be back tomorrow with my face beat because this deserves its own flawless beat. You hear me? By the way, I didn't use a lot of hair, I should mention. This is what's left out of the pack that had 2 bundles in it. So a bundle and a half is basically what I use, just in case you guys want to know if you want to do this yourself. It doesn't take a lot of hair to do. I said earlier in this video that I wanted to braid the back of my hair loosely, and as you can see, you have a bit more volume when you do this in the back versus just having, you know, just a few cornrows that goes back there. I like having a little bit more thickness, and that's why I braid the very back of my hair and do the cornrows, but entirely optional. You don't have to. Girl, I don't know where I'm going. All I know is I need to go somewhere. Ooh, sheesh. These braids. Yes, girl, so these are the braids, face beat, braids done. We are looking fabulous, honey. I really don't know where I'm going because we're in a lockdown, but girl, I am slaying my living room and I'm here for it. These braids took about, I want to say about 3 hours, but I took a lot of breaks, okay? I took so many breaks. I was kind of like over them towards the end, but once you get your hair parted, it's really easy to get your hair done. It's the parting, I find, at least for me, it's the parting that takes the longest because I like clean parts. So I take my time to create clean parts. This is the hairstyle. I hope that you love it. And I also hope that this video was helpful, that it taught you at least the basics on how to do cornrows and how to braid your own hair, because girl, you can do this yourself. You don't need somebody to jack your hair up for you, especially the edges. When it comes to doing cornrows, I find that you got to be very, very careful around your edges. So I don't trust anybody else. I just trust myself. I'll give you a quick look of the back. But yeah, girl, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you tried this yourself. Remember, the key is to practice, practice, practice. And when you feel like you've had enough practice, practice some more. That's the only way for you to braid your hair and get the hang of it, because it's interesting watching someone else braid. It's also interesting hearing someone else explain how to braid, but until you start doing it yourself, you're not gonna get it, okay? So yes, girl, I am going to the streets. The streets are calling my name. So I'm gonna get up out of here, but don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.